Hey Math Kids, today we're going to talk about different sampling methods. We are in chapter 11, section B, and we're going to just go right on to example 1. So it says management of a large store wishes to find out whether potential customers like the look of a new product. They decide to sample 5% of the customers using a systematic sample. Show how this sample would be selected. Okay. So let's go back. So if you look on the previous page, systematic sampling, I'm just going to read this from the book. So in systematic sampling, the sample is created by selecting members of the population at regular intervals. For example, an accountancy firm may wish to sample the files of 1/10 of their clients. They choose a starting file from 1 to 10, for example 3, and then they select every 10th file after that. So they would select the 3rd file, and then the 13th, and then the 23rd, the 33rd, and so on. Okay, so for this problem, we ended up with 5%. So if we put that into a fraction, 5%, just a little, I guess, English lesson about this. So this is saying 5 for every cent, and cent just means 100. So there's 5 for every 100 per 100, 5 per 100, and so it's 5 out of 100, which is going to be 1/20th. So we're going to sample every 20th customer. We just need to pick a starting point that is less than 20. So your book chose 7, but we could choose 3. So we're going to start with the 3rd customer, and then we're going to get the 23rd customer, and then the 43rd customer, and then the 63rd customer, and so on until we reach all of them. Now your book has a slightly different answer because they chose 7. So they did 7th, 27th, 47th, 67th, etc. But it doesn't matter. You can start wherever you want, as long as it's lower than 20. Okay, now we're going to move on to example 2. In our school, there are 137 students in year 8. So let's see, we have 137 students in year 8th, 152 in 9th, 174 in 10, and 168 in 11th, and 121 in 12th. Okay. A sample of 50 students is needed. So we need to sample 50 students. How many should be randomly selected from each year? Okay, so we're going to read this stratified sampling and quota sampling. So stratified sampling and quota sampling are useful when the population can be divided into subgroups, and you want to make sure each subgroup is represented fairly in the sample. For example, a school may want to know the opinions of its students on which charities it should support in the school fun run. To make sure each year level is represented fairly, the number of students sampled from each year level should be proportional to the fraction of the total number of students that year level represents. Okay. So what we need to know is the total number of students is the first thing. So let's open up a calculator and add all these up. So I'm just going to do 137 plus 152, 174, 168, and 121. Okay, so that's 752. So we have 752 total students. And so we need to know the number of students from each, like what percent each student is. And so what we're going to do that we're going to take 137 divided by 752, and then we're going to times that by 50, because we want to sample 50 students. So this helps us find the percentage of the students. And then if we take the percentage of the students and times it by 50, or the total number of students that we want to sample, that's going to tell us how many students we need to pull from that grade. And so we're going to go to our calculator. Now, I'm not going to go through and do every single piece of this on my calculator. I'm just going to show you this one. So 137 divided by 752 equals that, and then we times it by 50. And so that's 9.109, which is going to be closest to 9 students. Okay, I'll do one more with you. So we're going to go 152 over 752 times 50. Go to our calculator. 152 divided by 752, and then times by 50. It's 10.1, so that's going to be 10 students. Now, if we continue this, so if I do 174 over 752 times it by 50, put that into my calculator, I'm going to end up with 12 students. If I do 168, 752 times that by 50, that's going to end up being 11. And then finally, if I do 121 over 752 times that by 50, I'll end up with 8 students. Okay? And then basically it's just saying we should select 9 students from 8th grade, 10 students from 9th grade, 12 from 10th grade, 11 from 11th grade, and 8 from 12th grade, and ask them the questions that we want to know the answer to, and that will be a decent sample for the entire school. I think that's it for this section. Yeah. If you need additional help, come to Math Lab. Until then, calculator.